Welcome back, 8th graders. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Get ready because this explainer is going to be the ultimate test of both your math foundation and, well, your spiritual understanding too. We're bringing together numbers, graphs, and the actual deeper meaning behind why we even learn them in the first place. You've been working so hard on understanding functional relations, and today is where we get to see all that hard work really pay off.
Okay, let's dive right in. Proverbs 24:3 shares this really powerful piece of wisdom. By wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. Think about that for just a second. Learning math is exactly like building a house. You don't just throw up a roof and cross your fingers hoping it stays put, right? No, you lay a solid foundation. Every single skill you learn, whether it's addition, algebra, graphing, it acts as a crucial brick in that foundation. And today, we're checking the mortar to make sure your house of understanding is rock solid. So here's the blueprint for how we're going to construct our knowledge together today. 1. Building your math house. 2. Why functions actually matter. 3. The application mini-quiz. 4. Your unique godly purpose. And 5. Education guided by morality. Section 1. Building your math house. Building the foundation. So, like I mentioned, everything in math builds on what came before it. This explainer is specifically designed to help you place those conceptual bricks perfectly so nothing gets out of alignment. And here's the absolute key to building a strong house. True understanding means moving way past just rote memorization. Seriously, if you're just memorizing a formula, you're basically only borrowing someone else's tools. But when you actively apply what you know to completely new situations, that is when you're truly thinking like a mathematician. You own the tools. You see a totally new problem, and you instantly know exactly which mathematical brick to grab.
Section 2. Why functions actually matter. Real-world relationships. Now, what's really fascinating is how functions just leap right off the page and into the real world. I mean, they aren't just random letters and numbers trapped in a textbook. They're literally the blueprints of how our world operates. Think about calculating distance over time on a family road trip. The distance you cover is a direct function of the time you spend driving at a certain speed. Or think about pricing models at a store. Your total cost is a function of exactly how many items you toss in your cart. Even the video games you play rely entirely on coding logic. Every single button you press acts as an input that creates a specific programmed output on your screen. So yeah, functions are literally everywhere. And to navigate this world, you need a specific toolkit. For today, your toolkit includes the ability to analyze relations across different forms, evaluate function expressions by plugging in numbers, and really reflect on what you're learning. These are the exact tools that allow you to make brilliant predictions and spot those hidden patterns all around you. Section 3. The application mini-quiz. Test your knowledge. All right, it is time to put on those hard hats and lay some bricks. We're jumping into our 5-question application mini-quiz. I want you to be totally active here, so feel free to pause this explainer to think through your answers before I reveal them. Let's see just how strong that math house is. Okay, question 1. Identify if this set is a function. We've got the coordinates 1, 2, 2, 4, and 2, 5. Cast your mind back for a second and remember the golden rule of functions. Every single input, that's your x value, can only have one specific output, which is your y value. So take a real close look at those x values. This perfectly illustrates the relation. Take a look at this table. We put a 1 into the machine and we get a 2. Great, totally fine. But then look really closely at what happens when the input 2 shows up. The first time, it gives us a 4. But the second time, that exact same input of 2 gives us a 5. The machine is broken. It can't decide what the output should actually be. Because of that, this set is absolutely not a function. Moving on to question 2. Does the equation y equals x squared plus 3 pass the vertical line test? I want you to visualize this in your head. So x squared creates a U shape, right? A classic parabola. The plus 3 just slides that U shape up the graph by 3 spaces. Now take an imaginary vertical line and just drop it straight down through that U shape. Does it ever cross the curve in more than one place at the exact same time? Nope, it doesn't. So yes, it absolutely passes the vertical line test. It is for sure a function. Right along to question 3. If f of x equals 2x minus 1, find f of 6. This is where we really get to use our function machine. The instruction f of 6 is just telling us to take the number 6 and substitute it directly for the x in that equation. So we multiply 2 times 6, which gives us 12. Then we simply subtract 1. And what pops out of the machine? 11. Excellent work.
Okay, for question 4, we need to draw a mapping diagram for the set 1, 3, 2, 6, and 3, 9. Honestly, visualizing this is just so satisfying. You draw your input bubble and your output bubble. Step 1, you draw an arrow mapping the input 1 cleanly across to the output 3. Step 2, the input 2 gets its very own arrow mapping to the output 6. Step 3, the input 3 maps directly to 9. Look how perfectly organized that whole shebang is. One unique output for every single input. It's a perfect function. And here's our final visual test, question 5. Which of these graphs is not a function? A straight line, a circle, or a parabola? Now remember that vertical line test we were just talking about? If you drop a vertical line through a straight line or a parabola, it only ever hits one single point. But if you drop a vertical line right down the middle of a circle, bam! It hits the top of the circle and the bottom of a circle at the exact same x value. It completely fails the test. So the circle is definitely not a function. Section 4, your unique godly purpose, designed with intention. Now let's see how this all builds into something even bigger than math. We've mastered inputs and outputs on a graph, sure, but now we're going to apply this exact same logic to your own life design. And the absolutely crucial point is this. You are not some random outcome. Just like a mathematical function has clear, intentional rules, God created you deliberately. There are 0 accidents in your design. You were crafted with order, with intention, and with a very specific, totally unique purpose in this world. Think about the comparison here. A mathematical function is defined by order, right? One specific output reliably comes from each input. Well, human life, as designed by God, is defined by intention. God asks for consistency and faithfulness in our daily inputs. The thoughts you think, the words you speak, the actions you take on a daily basis. Those are your inputs. And God really values your faithfulness in even the smallest inputs of your daily life because He knows they ultimately create the final output of your character. Section 5. Education guided by morality. Smart choices matter. And that brings us to our final cornerstone today, putting this entire lesson into perspective through the philosophy of the heroesmartacademy's Godly Learner series. The core truth we try to weave into every single lesson is simply this: education without morality will hurt. I mean, what is the point of being incredibly smart, of knowing every single math formula and being highly educated, if you lack the moral compass to actually make good choices? If you use your sharp mind to make bad choices that end up hurting yourself or others, your house is ultimately going to collapse. A truly strong foundation requires both academic excellence and a really grounded, solid moral character. And, there is a beautiful reward for building your house this way. Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7 actually promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. This is the ultimate output of a life that's built with the right spiritual inputs. We see this play out all the time, honestly. When you align your mind with positive, spiritual, and moral truths, the result is this profound, totally unshakable peace. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly vital question to ask ourselves today. We know how function machines work now. We know for a fact that what goes in determines what comes out. So, what kind of inputs are you bringing to your life today? Are you putting in hard work, kindness, and faithfulness as you tackle your math homework later? And as you interact with the world around you, just remember that you are the architect. Make those inputs count. Thank you so much for joining me to build your knowledge today, and I'll see you next time.